Yeah. And you've been very active, like in spaces, watching the Twitter files reveal just the cozy relationship between social media, the Biden campaign, DOJ, FBI, and how they were really weaponized by political figures to take out accounts. Like even people that were not, regular citizens that even had a low count, whatever, to control narratives.
Yeah,
Um,
no, that's true.
yeah.
What's
So
even weirder, I'll tell you this too.
yeah,
So I did an interview with Dan Bongino, who has kind of become a friend of my family at this point, just because he's kind of looked out for me and advocated. And we
that's
were
nice.
talking about one of the early sort of accounts that was censored, and it was like 54 followers. It said, "This is a parody account. Hoes be mad and send us your weed stores." That was actually in the bio. And then that was a big problem. Obviously, the FBI sent an email about it. So you just know it's a clown show at this point.
Right. Yeah, I mean, seriously, that is. And Dan Bongino's been speaking out. What's interesting for me is, as you know, I came forward about Joe Biden. I used to
Mm-hmm.
work for Democrats. I worked as an intern for Leon Panetta.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm obviously no longer a Democrat and will never vote for Democrats again. I'm, an independent, I would call myself. But what
Yep.
I'm noticing with whether it's the peace movement or whether it's freedom of speech, I'm noticing that it's the Republicans, and more specifically, the America First Republicans, so that are really pushing to maintain our freedom of speech. What is what are you hearing and kind of knowing about that, kind of being in the stratosphere right now of this?
I mean, it's true. It's funny. So I've always been kind of an independent as well. I never really subscribed to any party. I don't feel like I can vote for the Democrat Party at this point, just because I think their views are antithetical to the kind of things that I signed up to do when I served in the military. I served under Barack Obama. So, and I enlisted knowing that he was the president. It wasn't like it was a secret at that time. Um, and then, it's just really hard. Like I voted for other parties, but I can't imagine doing that at this point. And it's funny because I'm not a MAGA or an America First kind of guy, although the idea of America First is really where I, sort of agree with. I don't know if I buy into whatever their platform is 100%, but those words, America First, like I'm 100% behind that. I've said that publicly to people, like even in these Twitter spaces where it's an international organization, and I said, look, my allegiance, because I've sworn it more than once, is to the United States Constitution, and that doesn't really end just because you're not serving in that role anymore. Like a lot, as you'll talk to a lot of veterans, they'll say, the oath expires when we do, and so so I'm 100% behind America. I don't really care about everybody else in that same level, but at the same time, I'm still like a human being, and I still have a lot of compassion for the global community. But if our dominoes fall, and that's that includes our First Amendment right to speak, then everybody falls. Like nobody gets to hold up if America doesn't hold up to their own ideals. And so, yeah, I think you're right. It's like, who else is going to defend those principles? And why is that not a principle everybody's on board with? I don't get it. Like I grew up, I'm 41 years old. So everybody kind of gets kind of a idea. I was a kid in the 80s. I was a kid in the 90s. And if you told me that people were going to be fighting against free speech and like pro censorship when I
Yeah.
was in my 40s, I would be blown away.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Like it's antithetical to the American system to have that sort of I don't know, like that drive to censor your opponents. Like I can't handle your speech. Like really? Like when I
Yeah.
was a kid, the ACLU was fighting so that Nazis could protest and speak and parade and do dumb things.
Yeah.
So, that's what the old school, and that's why I think so many people who identify themselves as libertarian and even just like old school classical liberals, the Dave Rubin types,
Mhm.
um, they're walking across the aisle because they're like, well, I don't know what you guys are doing, but it's not what I signed out for. Like
Yeah. Well
it used to be
said.
that
Yeah.
liberals used to be for freedom, and
Mhm.
now they're for censorship and totalitarianism. So that's not a good thing. And they're not liberals anymore. They're like
And
they
they're
just
funding fascists in Ukraine. They're funding Nazis in Ukraine. So that's
sure, yeah.
and
And like I'll be totally honest, like I don't understand exactly what's going on the heck over there because that's not my forte. Like I said, I didn't work Russia as a threat, so I understand enough about it cursory, and I've read both sides of people saying what's out there. I just know that people that I don't trust are 100% for giving billions of dollars or hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine, and that makes me think maybe we shouldn't do that.
yeah, it's
Right.
questionable. It is.
Mm-hmm.